Hello everybody, Eileen back with you again. Right, 2 video tutorials for you today because unfortunately I ran out of time yesterday and I couldn't do one. So this is the first one, obviously using Lavinia stamps. There's 3 stamps here and one of the stencils. So let's get going. A piece of A4 multifarious cardstock. I've folded it, creased it, and I've cut it to 18 centimetres in length and 11 centimetres in width. Not sure what that is in inches, but if you whack it into Google, I'm sure Google will tell you. The stencil I'm using is called Ivy, and I'm just using it for a panel in the middle of the card, so I'm not bothering to tape it down. I'm going to hold it and trust that it won't move. And I'm also using one of the largest of my makeup brushes that I have. I've found that the ink is distributed quite well across this surface, and because the surface is wider in the larger brushes, I'm getting a more subtle look as I lay it down on the cardstock. That's the theory anyway. Then it's Faded Jeans for me in normal distress ink for this panel. Right, just got a feel of how much ink there is. So because this is quite a busy stencil and I haven't taped it down, I can't do a normal circular motion that I normally use on stencils because it will move. So I'm just making sure that there's not too much ink on the brush, a sort of a pouncing motion as you can see on the card. But if your ink pad is too wet, that might not give you a very subtle look, so be careful. Yeah, and I'm doing it in layers, and it does seem to be giving me a nice clear image. So it's just pouncing on top of the stencil itself so it doesn't move. And another layer. Just take your time and it builds up the colour. And I'm just staying in the middle of the card, so lots of white space all around the outside edges. And there we go. Pop that out of the way. Stencil I'll put into water. And then onto the stamping. I've got my large stamping mat with me today, and it covers quite a wide area. And this is an absolutely beautiful fairy whose name I can't remember. I will put it into, oh, actually I've got the packaging, so I should be able to find her. No, it's escaped me. So I'm sure you'll forgive me. I will put the name of this fairy into the comments section on my post. VersaFine Claire Nocturne ink and gentle tapping. Now she's a large image, so I want to make sure that she's well covered in ink. Just gentle tapping, and then the ink doesn't go all round the edges. I think that should do me. I can't see any stray, oh, there's a stray bit there. So just get a piece of kitchen towel and wipe that off. But I think everywhere else seems to be okay. Maybe a smidge to remove there. You've got a little bit of leeway with the drying time of these clear inks. unlike archival, which dry quite quickly, these stay wet a little bit longer, which is a plus and a sort of a problem at the same time. All right, down we go. Staying wet in my case is a problem because when I've laid it down on the card, I then get my fingers in it and it goes all over the place, the ink, as you've seen in my past videos. Right. Firm pressure. That should do. And there she is. Not the most opaque, it's because my ink pad needs re-inking. So that is a lesson learned. Here we go. So I'm getting a pencil, polychromos pencil, and I'm just going to very lightly fill in the areas where the ink wasn't as opaque as it should be. The outline image is good, so I'm not too bothered about this. I knew the ink pad was a little bit dry. I can't find the other one I've got. I've mislaid it somewhere. I'm in the middle of the moment of sorting out my craft room. I've got an area that I use downstairs, and I've also got a very small box room upstairs where I keep most of my supplies, and I'm going through all that at the moment. Big reorganisation. And I can't find a thing. Okay, so there she is. And now I'm going to use blue, because I know this pad is wetter, for the next image, which is one of the hares. And I have got the name of this one. These are called the woodland hares, and you get 2 in a pack. And this one is gazing up, or will be, at the fairy when I stamp him or her. Gentle tapping again. And then we'll put down there forward a bit and standing up. Gentle pressure. Let the ink soak in. And there he is. Now he's in blue. He normally would be in black, but the blue I'm safer with. And the other stamp that I'm going to use is the words, and they are called Fairy Spells. Lovely font. And obviously I've chosen this because she's casting her spell over him. So there we are. That's the story, or, as they say nowadays, that's the narrative. Yeah. Okay. So I'm going to pop this down across the card. Third generation, I've taken off 2 layers of ink from the stamp because I don't really want it overpowering, because it's a delicate card. Heavier. As you see, I've not re-inked at all, but the pressure I'm putting on is still allowing me to get some ink, and I think that will do. Maybe another bit there. Yes. It's lovely. And then finally, just to ground both the images, and I'm using an eraser pencil, and this is from Faber-Castell, and it's actually an eraser in a pencil form, which allows you to get very close to the images. And I'm using that in conjunction with some polychromos pencils. And I've got a pale grey, a darker grey and a greeny colour, and that is just going to enable me to ground these. So starting off with the paler grey and just very lightly going to ground the fairy, like so. Not being too careful. I use pencils because that way, as you know, when I make a mistake, and I do often, I can rub it out again after. It gives me more control. So then a darker grey for a bit of shadow. And under her, like so. And then the green. This is a lovely green. I don't know what colour it is. Oh, it's called earth green. It's a really pretty green. All polychromos pencils. So now that's quite dark, and your eye automatically goes to where they're standing, which is not a good look. So that's where this eraser pencil comes in. It acts, for me anyway, as a sort of a blender. So it takes out the pencil marks, and I also use a brush to remove any of the debris from where I've used the eraser. Because if I use my finger to do that, you know, rub it over, I'll move the ink and then it splodges everywhere if the image isn't dry. A bit more there. So now that is just giving me a suggestion that they're standing, and that is the look that I want. I'm not very good with shadows and highlights. I'm not so arty talented in that area, but I know what the look that I'm going for, and hopefully I can get it with the aid of numerous erasers and pencils. Okay. Now I'm going into drawing mode. I bet you're impressed. I'm using a Uniball fine line pigment ink pen in black, and I'm just doing some flowers. So start off with a V and then a stalk, and another V and a stalk, and a V and a stalk. You see, look, absolutely masterpiece. And then on this side they're smaller, but there's more of them. 3, 4, and I'll have another one there. Look at that. Instant landscaping, okay? Now, and then of course you all see me with this beautiful accents, enamel accents. So we'll have one there and one there. I don't know what these flowers are called, but I'll give Monty Don a phone call later and describe them to him, and I'm sure he'll be able to tell me. Okay. All right. Did anyone see Gardener's World this week? Adam Frost in the pouring rain reminded me of Mr. Darcy coming out of the lake. You'll all be rushing to look at Gardener's World now. Right. And then one there. Okay, I think that will do. I've enjoyed doing that. It was fun. and it's fairly easy to do. Well, it's very easy to do, so I'm sure you'll have a good time. Have I forgotten anything? No, maybe a little bit more, so that the flowers are actually growing in something rather than coming out of the card at you with no grounding at all. So we'll put, oh no, look, smudged. Oh, you're not looking at that. Okay, right, with that, I'll say bye-bye. Please ignore the mistake. I'll say bye-bye, and I'll be back later on this afternoon with another card for you. And I'll try and find a different technique as well. Thank you so much for looking today. See you later. Bye for now.